things theology, all things theology. We chop it up properly, without an apology. Gotta give that theology to God, hallowed be, cause this is how we do it at All Things Theology.
I'm here minding my own business, minding nobody. You know, I have been seeing reports, but I kind of let it go. It's like, I don't know. But someone sent me a video. You want to know honestly why I was kind of like, they were like, watch this 7-hour video. He's talking about the law now. I'm like, I'm not watching the 7-hour video, man. But someone sent me a timestamp, and it is interesting. Because I was like, you know what? I'll let Young Don do his thing. But every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back. I was like this. No. I was like,
boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Because it appears Young Don has changed his position. He went from free grace to no grace. The very thing last week he told me I was going to hell, and I responded like this,
Jingle bells, I'm not going to hell. You know what I'm saying?
I said I'm not going to hell for that because you don't understand. He has swung the pendulum all the way back over here. Things that makes me say things like this.
Wait a minute.
Who are you? And it's why a lot of people have been saying to Young Don, relax, young man, slow down. Don't need to be teaching, because guess what, guys? I don't think we're done with the theological changes. I don't. 1 week he says something, and the next week he's saying the complete opposite. Young Don stuff, it's no telling where he'll end up in 3 days. I mean, guys, literally just last week, he was free grace and condemning me to hell, right? Just last week he was condemning me to hell, and I had to respond with
jingle bells, I'm not going to hell. You know what I'm saying?
Now by his own admission, guys, of last week, he has a different gospel. He changes his gospel like you change socks. I mean, it's sad that every time you look up, it's something new from Young Don. What will we see next week? Who are coming in? By the way, like this video if you are watching. All right, guys. Enough people are in here. Let's get into this video. What someone sent me. Luckily they sent me a timestamp, because guys, this video was 7.5 hours long. This man put in a whole work shift on YouTube. I said, I'm not watching him. I'm not watching a 7-hour video. They're like, I got the timestamp. I said, okay. I got you. So let's get into this. Let's play this.
How do you feel about the confusion you're causing? The people you bashed about saying the same thing, and the people you said you should be slow to teach because confusion you can cause.
So this is actually a great question from this guy named Solo. Shout out to him. He's asking, how do you feel about this? So you've changed your position, right? Just like that, right? How do you feel about the confusion you're causing? The people you bashed about saying the same thing. Like, now some have said, well, now he's actually promoting the law. And just last week you were condemning those same people. Like, so, that's a bit confusing, right? I mean, this is a good question. And then he says, the people that said you should be slow to teach because of the confusion you can cause. This is a good question. What do you think a person with humility would respond like? Like, yeah, man, you're right. I probably should be a little slower to teach things. A person who with humility would say, you're right. I did cause confusion because I was teaching what I believe now, from Young Don's current position, to be teaching error. Now I'm preaching truth in a matter of a couple days. I'm continually changing my position. Maybe I should be a little slower to teach. That's a good question. Nothing wrong with the question. Watch the response.
Listen, man, I may have, caused confusion. I'll admit that.
But it gets worse.
But I don't care because
he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I may have caused confusion, but I don't care. What kind of person who acknowledges they're wrong says they don't care about teaching false doctrine that they were once teaching, even according to his own admission? Again, this is what many people have been warning Young Don against. Bro, there is no assurity that what he's even teaching right now, he'll continue to teach in a week or two because he's constantly changing his mind. Now, repentance is good, right? When it's of the truth. But even then, even when you come into the truth, there still needs to be slowness to this, in the sense that you probably should be waiting till you actually are confident in the truth before you go out and teach the truth. Buddy Guy was straight up condemning us all to hell a few days ago, and he does not care. Did he abandon free grace? Yes, he did. Which is good, but it seems like the pendulum has swung. But let's continue listening.
Saved souls along the way.
So he's saying he doesn't care because he saved souls along the way. Now, young Don, this is the confusing thing, because just last week, he's saying what he taught now, what he's teaching now is a false gospel. But now it's a true gospel. Like I said, it's so confusing. It doesn't make sense.
And I'm honest about it. I don't care. Don't care. People want to listen. I've always told you, read your Bible.
This is I don't have to be accountable for what I taught you, because, you'll be responsible too. And although there's truth in that, right? Yeah, man is responsible. He has thousands of people watching this video, right? And doesn't want to have any accountability. You are responsible because a lot of these people you're teaching don't know anything about the Bible, and they're believing you.
Figure it out. You should not make any man an idol, and you should not make any man's words gospel. There's only one gospel, and it's in the Bible. So I save people's souls along the way.
Well, first of all, young Don, you don't save anybody's souls. It is the Lord alone. We should share the message of how they can get saved, but we're not, again, this is blame shifting. This is, you taught something that you at one point believed was heretical, now are teaching that very thing, and people are saying, yo, young Dom, bro, you're just kind of confusing. Figure it out yourself. I don't care. No humility. Again, guys, if I, taught something that was drastically different, I was so confident. Matter of fact, I said people were going to hell for it, and I changed my mind on it. Hopefully, I would come a little more humble. Like, guys, I was wrong. I apologize. I hope that you would forgive me, but I'm convinced of this. Like, there would be, guys, apologetic behind, but there's none of that. I don't care. I'm not your idol. Which, yeah, that's true. But you were their teacher. You were up here teaching these people daily on YouTube, propping yourself up self-appointedly, might I add. And then when people are like, bro, you're causing confusion, figure it out yourself. Yeah. So basically, it's your fault if you listen to me confusing you. Sort yourself out. That's right. That's pretty much what he's saying. And this, again, is the immaturity we're speaking about. And not only the immaturity, guys, but the pride. Good point. Did he publicly apologize to Alan Parr for lying? For the very things he's saying, Alan Parr is now right about? Come on. That's why teachers will have a stricter judgment. That's right.
We're learning together.
Now, I had a problem with that. Not because it's not true, right? We're all learning. But we're not figuring out our theology on the go on YouTube. That's the difference, young Don. That's the difference. I don't come to YouTube to work out my theology. I come to YouTube to teach what I know is true. I don't come to YouTube to play games with the word and, we're just all learning and figuring it out. No, that's not how this works. I teach something confidently last week, and then next week I teach something else confidently, quote unquote confidently. And then I teach something again in 3 weeks. This is what the Bible condemns, right? Being tossed to and fro from every wind and wave of doctrine. This young Don is the epitome of that Bible verse. He's the epitome of what the Bible is condemning in that verse. Every time I look up, I hear young Don is changing his views on something. Every week since I've heard about young Don, there's been a major theological shift. Now, again, it wouldn't be too much of a problem if he wasn't out on here on YouTube teaching this confidently, right? And anyone who disagrees going to hell, right? Just last week, he told me I was going to hell, right? He just told me last week I'm going to hell.
Jingle bells, I'm not going to hell. You know what I'm saying?
I introduce people to Christ. I re-encourage people to come to Christ. But, you know what I'm saying? I don't care.
Now, this is I can't be held guilty because look at all this good stuff I'm doing. You can't hold me accountable. I don't have anything to do with this. It's your fault. I'm leading people to Christ. Okay. If that's the quote unquote argument, then you could never condemn anybody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as long as someone's saying, well, hey, look, I'm leading people to Christ. Oh, well, dang it. They got me. It's like the Trump card. Like, oh, dang it. We ain't got nothing after you said that one. Guys, this is why many people should not be teachers, should be slow. Again, we've talked about it numerous times. I've talked about it with Marcus Rogers, Young Don, many people. Guys, it's okay to sit down and learn. The very thing last week he was straw manning me on, right?
Do you want to build a
Straw man.
He's now affirming. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? The very thing he was saying, I look to my works for right standing with God, that he's now appealing to. Just very interesting.
Right? I don't care. I don't care about this sentiment, this idea. Oh, see, you didn't know everything before you started teaching. I didn't ask to be a teacher. I just pressed go live and started talking.
Which is teaching. I mean, you're just calling it something else. But it's not that you didn't know everything. It's that you confidently was condemning other people. You seem to be very confident in this last week. Of course, no one is all knowing. No one was accusing you of that. No, I already knew you wasn't all knowing. I mean, come on. I mean, I knew that. I knew you wasn't all knowing. The issue is you claim that you knew this, that you were confident that this was the only gospel. Now you've abandoned that quote unquote only gospel. And by what you would say last week, have gone to a different gospel. Your own words would condemn you. Guys, your own words will condemn you. There's something about consistency. Yeah, people on YouTube, LOL, I just press live. Yeah, it's like, that's what everybody on YouTube does. You're teaching the Bible. You're a self-appointed teacher. I don't care if, obviously you press live. That's how people are hearing it. That's of course. But you appointed yourself as a teacher. No one called you. No one laid hands on you like the Bible says to do. None of that happened. You appointed yourself. You're not accountable to a local church. You don't know elders you're accountable to. You're your own church with one member, one head, which is you. You're the shepherd, the deacon, and the sheep all at once. There's no accountability. This is the danger of American Christianity right here signified. People think they could just get on YouTube. I am the church. No accountability. They think just because they got 10 or so people watching, they got themselves a church and they're now the pastor. No learning from other men. Guys, YouTube is not the local church. Do not, and I'm going to say this with a strong warning, guys. Do not listen to this channel, All Things Theology, and think you have gone to church. Do not. This is not your church. I am not your pastor. This is not a replacement for your local body, right? You ain't giving out no sacraments here. YouTube is not your church. And let me say something else for my reform crowd out there. John MacArthur, unless you go to his church, Vodi Bakum, Paul Washer, Steve Lawson is not your pastor. It is not your church. These could be supplemental means to your church and another encouragement, but this is not your church. So many have a low view of ecclesiology. Don't let Rome's unbiblical view of ecclesiology ruin that there still is a high view of ecclesiology in the church, and we should not ignore it. Again, I'm thankful for the internet. That, man, I would have met half of you guys. But guys, this is not the church. Not the local church, right? Hey, universal church, right? Oh yeah, Christians. Yeah, okay. You guys know what I mean. But it is not the local assembly, which the Bible tells us to gather unto.
If people listen, that's on them. So
It's your fault if you're listening to me. Guys, you see this, the pride of this? You know whose fault it is for you listening to my false doctrine? It's your fault. My goodness, man.
you know what I'm saying? And look, you think if I cared about people sticking around, I would have done this and been open and honest? No, I would have done what most preachers do when they come across information that conflicts something they've held to for a long time. They ignore it. They ignore it because they don't want to seem fallible to their audience. But I don't care about
fallible.
that. The only thing I care about is truth. Now, I will say this whole process has humbled me a lot and it has transformed me. But if you think that
I'm not really sure it's humbled you, because you know, a humble man would say, man, I probably need to not work this out on YouTube. I probably need to take time before I confidently teach my assertions and condemn other people to hell. I mean, I probably need to take a sabbatical before I get back on YouTube teaching these things. You were a Calvinist, free grace. Now you go dipping into Hebrew root stuff. I mean, which way will the train of young Don go next? We don't know. I'm hoping a black Hebrew Israelite don't catch up on you. He might be a Hebrew Israelite by April 1st.
I would have been better off just continuing to make the old content I was making and not talk about Jesus, then, you know what I'm saying? That's your opinion and you're entitled to it. That's cool. I think I made the right decision. I didn't do everything right, but I made the right decision in coming into Christ and preaching Christ as I saw fit.
But you were, according to your own admission, you were wrong about it all. According to your own admission, you had a false gospel. I was preaching some version of Christ. Is that the goal? As long as you're preaching about some person named Christ, doesn't matter if who it is right or accurate. That's not the goal. That's not the apostles' message. I mean, it's good enough as long as you mention Christ's name. It's like the magic potion formula. Mention Christ's name and people will get. No, it's the substance that we're preaching.
Right? This is what I'm saying. Go and test this for yourself. You don't got to believe it just because I said it.
But is what you're saying what the Bible commands us to believe? Again, this is just shifting blame. It's just, if what you're saying is the Bible's teaching, yes, we are commanded to believe that. This is postmodernism theology right here. You don't do theology like a postmodernist. If what you're saying is from the text, we are commanded to believe that.
You don't got to believe it just because I said it.
He said you left a bunch of kids hanging on your Patreon confused and devastated. So people in his Patreon are like, man, I'm paying $5 to be here, bro. And you switched up the free grace gospel on me. They're mad. And understandably so. You think you're going to hear an apology?
Well, if they want to stick around, then I will help them to not be confused. I'm not preaching works. What you need to understand is that there is a more intimate relationship between one's behavior and one's belief than people want you to accept.
Now, wasn't me and Rick Caldwell just said the same thing, a few weeks ago? Wasn't we saying that if God has justified you, he will sanctify you? Those whom God justifies, he grows in the spirit, produces obedience.
I understand some people might be heartbroken because they're more concerned about sticking to, beliefs.
Yeah, that's a good point. He blinded them. He was the one convincing many of these people of this, right? He was the one convincing them adamantly, strongly, right? Anybody who disagree is on their way to hell. That's why I say, man, hey, you got to keep the same energy on the apology you make.
I've said this time and time again. To my wife. Look, if I thought I had the luxury to, stop building the plane as I fly, to stop preaching as I'm learning, I would do it.
You don't have to build the plane online for everybody to see. You don't have to come online to do this. Because guess what? You have no idea if what you're doing is actually building the plane right. You know, there are some things I don't know how to do. There's some topics hey man, it's not my strong point. But I don't come on YouTube to figure and work it out and build my plane, so to speak. That's not how you do things. You know, I'm not going to make a how-to video on how to change your engine on the car when I don't know what I'm doing. Because guess what, guys? I don't know what I'm doing on that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to make how-to videos on how to do it.
Every day we're getting closer and closer to the truth. So, yeah. No meat riding, but I rocking with you, teacher. Hey, thank you, Jesus. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, man. So listen. This is a new direction we're going in. This is a new direction we're going in. I mean, like I said, I'm still testing it, but
look, he's not even convinced where he is now. He's still testing it. Theology is not a game that you test to see if it works or if you like it. You are convinced this is what God has spoken. This isn't some game. I'm testing this theological view out real quick. See if I like liberalism. That's not how you work theology out. Is this what the Bible teach? If it is, you stay committed to it. You do not waver. You do not shake from it. You stay with it. Yeah, good point. You do not test drive doctrine. You don't test drive doctrine. You're still testing it. You test it. The testing period is when you're unsure. Then you go to say, hey, look, I'm not in the testing period. I know justification by faith alone, through grace alone, and God's glory alone, to the scriptures alone, leave all alone. I'm not testing that out. I'm rooted in that. I know Jesus is God. I'm not testing it out. I firmly believe it.
I thought I could just believe on Christ and I'm good. Explain this. I don't believe in once saved, always saved.
There we go. Young Don has now denied so much of, and we're going to keep playing. Okay, so that's what I was waiting for. Like I said, I haven't heard this part yet. Young Don now said he doesn't believe in once saved, always so. So you can be justified, made right for a holy God, and then all that could be ruined by little old you. Let's keep playing. Let's see if he actually digs deeper into this.
I do not. I came to this stream not sure, on the fence, and
wait, what? What? He came to the stream not sure if he believed that salvation was eternal, but I guess by 6.5 hours of talking on YouTube, he figured it out. What in the world is going on here? What? Let's see what convinced him.
Now I can say I don't believe in it.
This guy is literally figuring out his theology on the go. You know, one time I remember me and brother, we went evangelizing to somebody, and kind of around this same realm, like of what he's talking about. We were talking about salvation being by faith alone. And my friend was about to go to Galatians and like obviously destroy him. And before my friend went to Galatians, he was like, wait a second. Do you believe Galatians is in the canon? And the guy said, no. Just like that. Like, what went through those brain cells to get him to the conclusion that Galatians is not in the Bible? That's what we're seeing from Young Don. Just as quick as this, theology has been. Do you believe this? Nah. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, no, I'm figuring it out. Oh yeah, now I believe it. No, I don't. Yep. Just test it out. Yep, liked it. Don't like it. That's Young Don, how he figures out theology. You wonder why we say sit down? That's why. Young Don is why. And yeah, he's not teachable. Who does theology like that? You know, by the end of this video, I'm like, you know what? I've come to the conclusion. This is right. Who, again, I don't work my theology out on here on YouTube. By the time I've come to YouTube to teach something, I'm believing it. I'm rooted in it. Do not, guys, do your theology on YouTube. This is not a place for it. Study it on your own. Study it with a community of people like-minded who you trust. Yeah, what's the means of how he tested this anyway, right? Like, yeah, toss 2 by every minute of the YouTube channel.
Y'all so like, bro, look at this nastiness, man. If what he said a month ago and people died after, he'll be held responsible according to the Bible.
I mean, that's true. He said, look at this nastiness. People are saying, reminding him of his own doctrines. And he said, that's nasty. It's like when I review somebody's videos And they're like, why are you attacking him? Why are you attacking him? It's like, when did disagreement become attack? Quit stoning him. My hands are empty.
Right? Instead of saying, dang, look at this, bro, if what I'm saying now is something you agree with, right? If you're saying, instead of saying, oh wow, look at this, bro is actually open-minded and he's not like dogmatic. He's open-minded, he's exploring the concepts and learning. You're trying to plot on, bro, listen, man. This is the thing.
You have no response. He doesn't actually answer the question. The issue is not even at this point, if you're right. The issue is you're constantly changing your mind on stuff. You're constantly coming over here condemning people to hell, which is nasty because you're wrong all the time. That's nasty. You want to talk about being nasty to people? That's nasty. Yeah, you're minimizing your doctrinal errors and the confusion you're causing. That's nasty. And then when people call that out, you get mad. This isn't humility. This is not humility at all, man. Somebody's got to be able to sit you down, man, and tell you, dude, you are so prideful and unwilling to listen.
This is the thing. This is a sick thing that I've seen in the Christian space.
Sick.
There are people who don't want you to actually change your mind because they have a hate boner for you.
What? What are we listening to?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Bro, it is not hateful to call out your error. Well, I won't even repeat what he said. This is so weird. This is just so strange. That's nasty. That's literally nasty. That is nasty, man. I mean, I don't know the motivation for why he changes his doctrine every week. It doesn't really matter to me. It's irrelevant. Don't worry. I'm not going to say that. Hey, at All Things Theology, one thing you will get is we keep it clean around here. We don't tolerate, vulgarity. Even, it doesn't have to be a cuss word to be vulgar.
They love to like hate on you. And so they pretend as if they hate that you don't agree with them. But
this is called moving the goalpost. What is moving the goalpost? Let's say someone or blame shifting. Someone calls you out for something that is true. Well, we see this all the time. I've been guilty of it. May the Lord grow me in this area, but let me use this in the context of marriage because it's relevant. Let's say my wife calls me out on a sin. Honey, you lied about this. We all lie. You lied too last week when you said. That is shifting the goalposts. That is shifting the blame. And it's not actually dealing and addressing the issue at hand. It may be true, but it's actually missing the point. And you are shifting the blame, sir. You are shifting the goalpost. It's irrelevant, even if true. Guess what? People can hate you, but still be right on this point. That's right. This is gaslighting. You were wrong. Admit it. Don't shift the blame. Don't you to this and you to that.
they want a reason not to like you. And so when you change your mind due to start and you actually agree with them, now they still want to find a reason to hate you, even though now you're preaching the same thing. Why?
He's missing the point. He's missing the point. I've been saying this from day one with Young Don. You need to sit down. Young Don, you need to sit down and learn. That, guys, hasn't that been my constant critique of Young Don? That he has no idea what he's talking about and he needs to sit down and get off these YouTube streets before he comes on here confidently teaching and condemning people to hell? That's been my constant rebuke. Just because you're right, I still believe the same thing. It's not hate to say that, man. It's loving. Man, we got to stop doing this too, man. This happens a lot. And I don't know, man, if it's the emotional state of people now is just like so emotional thinking, right? People don't know how to logically think, but anytime you say something you're just so hateful, and is what's being said true? Man, we got to stop thinking like the world, man. The world thinks like this. You call a woman a actual woman, I'm a man, you call me a man. They're so emotionally driven. And that attitude has infected and been incepted into the church. You say anything truthful, right? Because Soleil man's feelings is the mantra of today. Stop being so emotionally driven to where you have to use emotive language like this. This is not addressing the point. Notice he has not addressed That's One Beats question, but I think That's One Beats was in here earlier. He hasn't even addressed the point he's actually argued.
It wasn't about the truth. It wasn't about actually getting the message out there. They're just haters. Like, this is nasty, bro.
Nasty.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I like this Latin phrase a lot better. I like this Latin phrase. Sole emotionalis. I like that. Sole emotionalis. Yeah.
And if one of my bros, whenever people I've been teaching about the law and the importance of the law, when people who have been fighting me on it, or people who've been disagreeing with me on it, when they finally change over and like, bro, you know what? I think I see what you're seeing, and I think I agree with you. I don't go, well, now you better go apologize to everybody who you told don't need to keep the Sabbath.
Here's the issue, young Don. They're not going on YouTube teaching this stuff like you are. That's the difference. These people that are coming to you apologetic now saying, hey, I should be obedient as a heart of a justification, I guess, or who knows? Seems like you're going farther than that. They're not on YouTube teaching people the free grace theology like you are. Yeah, he called me a heretic for going to the Greek, you know?
Take you to the Greek. You led them astray. It's like, bro, this is a process. We all learning.
This is a process because you got people out there teaching on YouTube who don't know what the heck to believe, because it's all a process. Again, postmodernism theology. Nobody really knows. I mean, it's a process. Justification isn't a process, and knowing what justification isn't a process. You either know salvation is by faith alone, through grace alone, or by grace alone, through faith alone, or you don't.
Seeking after truth, right? It's mad false teachers out here. It's mad false teachers out here. It's mad different doctrines out here. It's 1,000 different.
But tomorrow, you may join them in their false doctrine. Theological jello, man. But like Steve Lawson, give us some men who know the truth. My goodness.
Different denominations. Like, I'm just a guy, bro. I'm just a guy trying to figure out truth and share Jesus here. But, you know, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm open-minded. Like, dang, man. Y'all because even though I do not agree 100% still with what I'm pretty sure none of them preach that we need to keep the Mosaic law at 100%.
See, this is the danger, young Don. The very central message of the book of Hebrews. I couldn't think of anything that goes diametrically opposed to the book of Hebrews as what was just said there. He's going back to the shadows, to the types. Guys, we have the substance revealed in Christ. My goodness, no, we're not going back to the Mosaic law. He says all of it. Guess what was part of the Mosaic law? Sacrifice. You going back there? I guess forget the blood of Christ. You got the blood of lamb and goats, huh? He said all of it. Hold on, we're going to hold him to that standard. Hold on.
Because even though I do not agree 100% still with what I'm pretty sure none of them preach that we need to keep the Mosaic law at 100%.
100%. Get out of the way, Christ. Back to the blood of lambs and goats. You see how this stuff gets dangerous from what he just said? Do not go back to the elementary things. Mosaic law, yeah, read Galatians and Hebrews. We're not going back.
I'm pretty sure, you know, I don't know if any of them actually believe in once saved, always saved. But the point is like, bro, at the end of the day, everyone's just people are trying to figure this out.
So hey, we're just trying, man. We're doing the best we can. I mean, God's word ain't clear enough to really bring us to the absolute truth, objective truth on all these things. We'll figure it out one day, right? Roman Catholics, you know, Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, you know, we're just all figuring it out, right? No, sir.
People are trying to figure this out, and I'm realizing that things are more nuanced and complex than I thought before.
The gospel? The gospel's nuanced and complex than before? The gospel is very clear, sir. It just contradicts man's pride. It contradicts the righteousness that man wants to work for. Yo, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, why don't you go and leave me a like? Subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. Hit that notification bell. I promise to give you weekly content, lives, interacting, exposing false teachers, showing you my theological beliefs and what I believe the Bible teaches. So if you're here for that, go and join us.